We're snorting cap rates and shooting up cash flow here at Deal Junkies. Welcome back to Deal Junkies. I'm Gabe Johansson. So excited to be back in the SMI studio. I'm here with Dane McKinney and Mike Nuss. It's good to see you, Mike.
Oh, dude, so good.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Days are getting longer.
Happy New Year.
I've been missing this. We've done a few episodes remote and been bouncing around, and it's good to be back.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get some normalcy back.
Does it feel like this year's going to be better than last year?
I just saw a short video from Bigger Pockets. Apparently, they have a Bigger Pockets heat wave analysis.
Yeah.
And 100's neutral. So
100's neutral. Okay.
How you feeling about the market? 100's neutral. Last year was 108.
Oh, they were feeling a little good, a little better.
Last year was like, a little better. Well, not just, timid, but not like
What do they think
cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
This year, 150.
Whoa.
Right?
Whoa.
And
so what was 23? Like 12?
It had to be below 100.
Yeah. For the Investor Lab thing, I had one data slide just so I had some math. I had to have math on there. And it was the supply level thing, and it's 3 years, so 23, 24, and 25. And I was like, wow, you compare 25 to 23, it's not that bad. And I was like, oh, but that was 23.
Let's talk about Investor Lab a little bit. So Investor Lab now is happening every other month in Portland, and now you're going to do one in Salem on the alternating months. So
yeah, we combine forces.
So January was Investor Lab Portland. February was still first Wednesday at same venue, or did it change?
So now Salem's doing second Thursday as well. So
it
we'll
is.
have
Okay.
continuity. And the goal is to have continuity. And what you find when you have meetups, other people want to do meetups, and everyone thinks about what everyone else is doing to try and coordinate shit, right? So that was part of it. And then just now the branding efforts, and now not everyone's trying to work so hard. It's just a little bit more seamless. Try and unify the marketing side of it.
So Investor Lab Portland, Investor Lab Salem. There'll be 12 of them a month, but it'll go back
12
and forth
a year, once a month.
12 of them a year, sorry.
Yeah.
And it'll go every other month. Second Thursday. What's the venue it'll be at in Salem?
Same one. Yeah.
Sassy Onion?
Yeah. Unless we can do, some other site visits on projects or something like that.
Is there anything else changing about it? Are you charging for tickets or anything in Salem?
Yeah.
Like Portland?
Yeah. So Eric, yes, good question. So Alex wants to now charge, we talked about charging $10. Don't want to shoot Alex put him under the bus. $10, free drink.
Okay.
So the bartender's coming back. They got their license.
You can pre-buy tickets. You can find us on
Eventbrite.
Facebook, Eventbrite.
Yeah. So the really uncoordinated marketing effort's going to get coordinated. So we're just going to redo our Investor Lab social medias, do everything in one. It'll just be one platform for everything.
Now run by Alex Ferry and Mike Nuss. You guys are the head wizards.
Yeah.
Trevor's out. Are you going to make Trevor come speak still?
No more computers. No more bots.
Trevor comes up with the ideas, and then he says, okay, I don't want to do this anymore.
I didn't even think about it. I can come use Trevor as a little tool. Come be my minion. Go be a little speaker. This is your topic. You have to stay focused. I'm going to have him come talk about emotional intelligence.
He's been learning a lot.
We can make fun of Trevor right now because last weekend we were in Palm Springs, and today he's in Canada snowboarding. So Trevor's just, I think he's having too much fun.
He's retired.
I'm not going to say I'm just a little pissed off at you guys, but I'm a little jealous. There's a little jelly belly over here. Like, it's dark. I'm getting fat.
Jelly belly.
Did you start on our, did you hire the trainer that Trevor and I use yet?
But like one of my wins. So on the GoBundance website, when I clocked in my wins, I was like, staff, more than 50 plus units bought. And then I ended it with, I gained a little belly fat for the 2026 pillar effort. So my core changes in 2026. And so as I was, and there was, I guess I can get into all of this, but like last night was kind of like a coming out party where I've gone through this process of kind of becoming this person. So now I get to be this person. Mm-hmm. And in the becoming a new person is a really hard process. And especially at the beginning, as you start to change, as your chemicals in your brain and your emotions start to change, some feathers get ruffled in relationships, paths get changed. lack of traction. You start to get traction. You start doing work, and then you pop out. You're like, okay, I'm a different person. And what I've witnessed of myself is I've been communicating with myself in a different way in the past 90 days. Like if you compare over the past 180 days, the past 90 versus the first 90, it's like a different kind of human being, like a caterpillar shedding its little thing, become a little butterfly.
Are you happier?
I am.
I like that.
I said last night, like kind of self-reflection and recognition, I've realized the happier I get, the more I cuss. The more I cuss, the more I question myself. The more I question myself, the less happy I am. And so it's this cycle. And now that I recognize this cycle, I'm just going to let the cussing go. So last night I just let it flow on the presentation.
And now you're not going to cuss anymore?
I'm going to slowly bring it down and not question why I cuss. Like that's just okay. I vibrated a little too high. Like okay,
bring it down a notch.
The spectrum and the pendulum. Okay, all right.
You're maturing.
Bring it. Yes,
I like it.
That's emotional intelligence.
I like it. Okay, so Investor Lab. That's very cool. Something I wanted to talk about. I've been reading some positive news lately, and it's interesting because the last few years have been pretty much doom and gloom. Like everything about the real estate markets, Oregon in particular. And then suddenly I start seeing interesting things. Like a few days ago, they came out and they said Salem is in the top 10 safest cities in the United States. Where in the heck does that come from? Then yesterday or the day before, I started seeing articles saying that Oregon is again number one in the nation for in-migration. So United Van Lines does a report every year. They track people, how many people drop the van off and stay in Oregon versus leave, or however they do that. So I don't fully understand the metric, but I believe it was 65% plus were in migrating versus out migrating. So tell us, Mike, a little bit. Can you help us understand? Is this to me when because Oregon used to always be like in the top 5, and then Portland got a black eye. We had riots. We had all the stuff, and the last thing I saw from an Oregon economist. One of the big dogs said that Oregon had dropped from the top 5 to like 38th position or something like that. So just immediately from the last report I saw a few months back, now they're saying we're number 1 again. So I don't feel it exactly, or at least maybe I don't know that I feel it. Like it still seems hard to rent units. There's a lot of vacancy, but tell us, is this real news? Is this good news? Like how do you see this information?
This is fucking amazing news.
That's why you're happy.
Yeah, and I'm not even happy because of the news itself, because this gets to show that you're a data guy and I'm not a data guy.
Oh.
And the whole presentation last night, and I'm so
That's new.
sad you weren't there.
That's a bold statement. I never knew I was a data guy. I'm just reading headlines.
Yeah, you want to, well, maybe you're not. That wasn't the right statement.
I'm just a guy.
Yeah, so the thought, like last night, the whole presentation was psychology drives everything, and it's not, nothing is actually even data. It's all, and so qualitative versus quantitative, right?
Okay.
So what's beautiful about this is it doesn't even speak to the amount of people. It has nothing to do about census and population, right? This is the leading indicator to branding and psychology. That's all it is.
So this is putting a better brand on Oregon.
Yeah.
Our reputation's coming back.
Yep. When Portland started to go downhill, what did we talk about? Portland has a branding problem. When the ICE agents were flown into, or the Federal Reserve National Guard was put into Portland, the one thing I said, thank you, Donald Trump. This is a chance for our brand to turn around. The best thing for Portland recently was the National Guard coming in and that stupid little frog doing his little dance.
Dude,
right?
That was funny.
That was pretty amazing.
Exactly.
When he got pepper sprayed in the beehole.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
So think of it this way. I say really things that people are like, what the hell is he saying? Because I'm thinking about where psychology is going to go, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I say, yeah, the National Guard coming into Portland is a good branding thing for Portland, because I know I'm not looking at videos from 2021 saying shit's on fire and we need to send in. Mm-hmm. I know what's happening in Portland, and I now we're going to get eyes on Portland. And I also know how Portland reacts when it gets eyes on itself. You get dudes in costumes coming out dancing.
Square dancing.
Yeah.
In front of the
exactly. And
ice.
So it was the moment that the people who have the Pacific Northwest mentality got to see Portland again on a national level, right? And so, but that has always been reverberating. That's a cycle. That's a pendulum. Neutrality is a fallacy. And so, yeah, we had a branding issue. People left. Well, when people leave, other stuff changes. So why is the question? Well, affordability, jobs, people retiring. So there's a why behind it, right? So people left, but the desire hasn't changed. So we have a desire to be here, but the desire is all relative to your other opportunities. It's an opportunity cost just at an individual, how do you want to live level? And so people have swept. Now the opportunity cost the cost to be here is different based on what you get being here. And so now, great, psychology shifts back. Mm-hmm. And then now it's the branding and the marketing side of it, which a lot has to do with national news.
Well, something interesting about this report they gave is it wasn't Portland specifically they were talking about. They talked a lot about Salem and Eugene seeing the most in-migration, which really blew me away. But the number one city for in-migration in the United States is Springfield, Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
The article that I read talked about Springfield. So I don't know if it had the highest ratio, but that was the city that it focused in on. And why? Tech, jobs, close to Salem, and so
cheaper than
Eugene and Portland. Yeah. So it's close to Eugene and Portland, so employers. And then the other why is so retirees, our environment. And don't act like global warming doesn't have a part to do in this. How many people were wearing T-shirts in December this year?
Yeah, that's
right?
weird.
So when you think about it, who is moving? Who has capital to move? Who can drive our economy right now? We are in an atmosphere where people do want to retire to outside of our death tax, our estate tax.
So if you dig into the data a little bit, it does talk about people moving for jobs.
Not the data. See, you are a data guy. Thank you for proving my point. Thank you.
Okay, I'm a data guy.
If you dig into the psychology and then you look at the data with the lens of psychology, then you can see the pattern recognition.
So one thing they talk about, though, is some people move for jobs, some people move for retirement, like you're talking about. The number one reason people in-migrated to Oregon, according to them, was to live closer to family. So kind of the way I saw that was, when Portland or Oregon had a black eye and people were looking for something different. We saw people go to Idaho, people went to Texas, maybe for politics or whatever the case may be. But we always said, how long is that going to last before people come home? And it's kind of this is Hotel California. We've always said, you can leave Salem, but I've got a friend who left 5 years ago. He went to Nashville. And we hung out with him in Palm Springs over the weekend. He's like, you know what? I'm coming back to Salem. Yeah. I don't really like Salem, but I like you guys, and I want to be around you guys. So I'm moving back to Salem.
Dude,
it's that's why you live somewhere is to be around the people you want to live with, right?
I love that take. I love that take on the analysis of the data.
Well, okay, I agree. I also, anecdotally, have a bunch of friends who post-college moved out of state and then lived out of state for a period. I think COVID, the timing on that was huge for us because I had a ton of friends move to red states right out of college because COVID was brutal for, college students specific. I mean, everybody, right? But people in school at the time where jobs still kind of happened. But if you were in school, you just didn't talk to anybody. You had your circle of friends that you talked to, but you weren't in class anymore. You didn't have the structured setting of, okay, I'm going to see a bunch of people every day, no matter what. And so you wanted to be somewhere where you had that. Ton of friends moved away, and over the past probably year, I was down in Austin 2 weeks ago, and I was telling my parents I probably had 15 friends that moved down to Austin post college, and I think 12 of them have moved back. I think 3 of them still work there because they have really good jobs and like it, whatever. But 12 of them came back to Oregon to be closer to family. And to that point, I think that when you're saying you want to live closer to family, you have to make the decision, though. Somebody's moving, somebody's not moving. And so it's okay, when I'm looking at where my family lives, this conversation recently started where I was wait, you guys should actually just move here. Where I live is cooler. I actually because it was always.
Where's your family at? Texas or Kansas City?
I have family outside of Dallas. I have family in a small town in Kansas, and they're ranchers. And so I reached out to Paul, and Paul was immediately like, had a billion ideas. He was like, get them up here. I can figure it out. Like I fly them in, they can stay at my guest house. They'll go to and it was just the epiphany of like, wait, he can just come ranch here. Like there's great industry for that in Central Oregon. And then there's some in, the Valley too. But I was like pitching them on that, and then I was like, I can get them here. I can get my brother a job. And my parents were like, well, obviously, if my grandkids are in Salem, like we're coming back to Salem, no doubt. Like they love Salem, but it's not the hub. And so when you're making the decision, it's like, well, we're not all going to move to Kansas City. We're not all going to move to Dallas. We're definitely not all moving. We're definitely not all moving to Little River, Kansas, where my sister lives, town of like 200 people. And so the question of like, okay, you want to be near family, but which city are you going to pick? It's like, okay, if your whole family lives in like a nice city in California, and then some of you guys live in like Ohio, you're not moving to Ohio.
But it's hard to move to California.
It's hard to move to California, and so then it's like, okay, if my family lives in Oregon, I can actually move there, yeah. And I kind of love to live in Oregon. Like it's not too expensive yet. But people are naturally going to, when you're making the decision of like who's going to move where, and that epiphany happened to me too, where I was like, oh, it actually does just make sense for you guys to come here. We can just start a hub here. Like it'll be better if we all live.
And that's an example of like more broad-based commerce can work, right? So now you have more transferability of your jobs. You're not as tied down.
Hey guys, Gabe here. Have you seen the exciting new projects we have going on at Stack Asset Group? If you're interested in investing with us, click the link in the description below.
And so like anecdotally, I know people that have settled in the Pacific Northwest because that's the most proximate to the two various families, right?
Yeah.
So you form a new family and settle down in between the two.
Yeah. And
so you get that type of...
Well, and it's cheaper than Seattle, and it's cheaper than anywhere in California that you really want to live, at least in California.
I'm going to go back to the data.
Yeah, go to the data.
So what I've heard is that...
I just love how he confirms everything I say in life.
When they go back all the way to the beginning of when they started tracking migration patterns, and I think this goes back really, really far, probably hundreds of years, people tend to travel not only to the coastlines, but they tend to travel west. It's like a human thing that happens where people just go west.
Like our natural circadian rhythm.
So if you're going to go west and you're going to go to a coastline, what do you get? You get Washington,
That's
Oregon,
we're
California.
The sunset. You want to walk to the sunrise or you want to walk to the sunset?
There you go.
True.
I mean, that just seems like...
It kind of makes sense.
Like, there needs to be a word for like, we have psychology. What about soulologically? Yeah. It's oh my God, this is the best word ever.
Soulologically.
This is just so logically sense and logical for me.
No idea what you just said.
You're kind of pointing on like circadian rhythms and
like how they just are natural innate cells.
Which way does the Earth spin? This might have something to do with it.
That is the space between the cells.
Okay,
that is our soul. That is what just naturally works with our world and our planet.
So think about that. If everybody's going to go west, you're going to end up in one of these three states. When you look at affordability up and down, just go I-5 from Canada to Mexico and check affordability all the way along I-5 and tell me where the most affordable place to live.
Data guy.
I'm going to take a guess and say it's Springfield, Oregon.
Probably. Or Redding. Not Redding because Redding has too much tourism.
Well, and you got California taxes and some other stuff. But I think Oregon is more affordable than Washington or California.
Yeah. And you have really good jobs in Salem, Eugene, Springfield.
I'm getting excited.
Well, and then affordability is relative to the employment centers, right? So you talk to someone in Eastern Oregon, they won't agree with affordability, right? They're going to be, it is really hard to live out here. And it's not because stuff is expensive, it's because the income isn't there.
Yeah. I mean, I have a buddy that moved to Eastern Oregon probably 6 years ago in 2019 and loved it, like loves the climate. Eastern Oregon's gorgeous, especially if you're cool being cold. Cool being cool. Then it's awesome. And he's a big hunter. But he moved back to Salem because like for his job and his expertise, he makes double
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even close. And
In Oregon?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he was in LeGrand, or outside of LeGrand in Union, and then moved back to McMinnville.
I mean, that's the
because-
ultimate reason why somebody moves. I mean, it's maybe not. I mean, it might not be the one thing you move for, but if you want to move, that's
Yeah.
going to be the first thing
You
you
have
look
to get
at
the-
is what is my quality of life going to be? Can I earn enough? You know, what is the cost of living and so on.
This is where the federal investment in rural broadband is so essential.
Okay, I got to tell you this. This is. Go ahead. You guys keep going.
Sorry. Go.
No, go
I'm
ahead.
too fired up right now.
Go ahead. You're go.
Okay.
Bring the energy.
Okay, so we're driving through coming back from Palm Springs. Our flight got canceled, which is not fun. And so they wanted to book us out 3 days later. We were like, that's not cool. So we booked out flights out of LAX, and so we had to go spend the day in LA, and which was kind of cool. And we're hanging out at Erewhon, our favorite grocery store. We're driving down the road, and I mean, we're in an area that's not that nice. There's graffiti, there's homelessness, there's all sorts of stuff. And I'm just like, this sucks. Like, I mean, this area is not a place I'd want to live. We're driving by all these apartment complexes. Of course, Trevor and I are talking about how much is that building? I wonder what the rents are, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you pull up the rents right now in this building that we're standing in front of. 2-bedroom, 1 bath. In an area where
70s.
I'm going to tell you this. Chad was with us. We were in a minivan. Chad wanted to stop and get some Kodiak, which, by the way, in California, you cannot buy flavored tobacco.
Yeah.
So he wasn't very happy about that. We pulled up to a 7-Eleven, and Chad would not get out of the car.
Chad wouldn't get out of the car.
He said, go find a different 7-Eleven. So,
Of all people.
This is Chad, the guy we
Yeah.
know who has the most guns and ammo of anyone we've ever met. He's a gun
Yeah.
dealer.
Maybe that's why he didn't have his guns and ammo. with
Exactly.
him.
Yeah. He's like, I am not getting out of the car right now. Take me to a different 7-Eleven. So we're literally driving to a different. This is the neighborhood we're in.
Yeah.
And somebody in the car pulls up Zillow or whatever, and we're looking at this building. And I mean, this is a crappy. The pictures of it are like an old, crappy apartment complex. I mean, none of us would probably live there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Can you guess how much the rent was in that unit?
Like down, like
800 square foot, 700 square foot, right in the
Yeah.
middle of graffiti land.
$3.50 a foot.
$4,300 a month.
Yeah, but what's the median income?
Well, I'm sure it's much higher,
Yeah.
but they probably have to move
But it's still relative.
6 people to live there.
Yeah. Insane.
$5.50 a foot. What are you talking about?
Maybe he was looking
Okay,
at the wrong
so-
thing. Maybe
so-
he was looking at the wrong data.
No. I'm telling you guys,
crazy.
we get locked into a vacuum here where we're like, people go like, oh my God, rents went from $1,200 to $1,300. This is not affordable.
Yeah.
I just tell you, go up and down I-5, go to Seattle, go
This
go
is why
anywhere.
the principle of relativity is so like the essential of everything.
Okay, explain. What are you talking about?
I don't know what the principle of relativity is, but I know what I believe relativity is.
I think
Ask Siri what
I
the
think that's a physics term.
yeah. Well, there's like Einstein in
Theory of relativity.
theory of relativity, but relativity in practice in life, everything is relative. But we live in our vacuums and don't realize the relativity of life.
Yeah, because we're in our own world.
Yeah.
This is what we see because it's what's right around
Yeah,
us.
and just for the audience, I'm not on mushrooms, okay? I just want to make sure this is clear.
He's just happy.
He's just a butterfly. He used to be a caterpillar. Now he's a butterfly.
Yeah, there's a vibe about January. January has a freaking vibe.
All right.
What were you saying about
Federal
broadband?
in investment in rural infrastructure, rural band. So again, the jobs, the mobility, the remote ability. How essential is it for rural America for people to be able to work remote? Right? That is outside income, businesses businesses driving revenue outside of that rural community, but bringing income into that rural community by someone being able to work remote.
It's interesting that here we are 25, 30 years after the internet really took off, and we're just now seeing the effects of how it made the world so much smaller.
Yeah.
And you can go work, like to your point, if you want to live in a town of 200 people, you can still work for a company with 5,000 employees.
Yep.
It is crazy to think about, like, how lucky I don't know, how my generation of people that graduated right around when I did or a little before when I did, the fact that we can travel all the time and actually work. Like I work, I only ever use a laptop. Sometimes I use a monitor. One, laptops have gotten so much better. 10 years ago, even if I was working from a laptop, like I couldn't, you remember trying to open like a big spreadsheet on a laptop? Yeah. And it literally, like, dude, your laptop would crash.
I shut down ChatGPT yesterday.
What do you mean?
So I'm doing my presentation. So what does that mean? My presentation was all qualitative, right? So all I did was use images, AI created images. So I had 5 ChatGPT tabs open, and it was give a prompt, starts producing image, other one, give a prompt. So I'm working on 4 or 5 different images, and they all suck, right? You have to, then they create it, you give another prompt, and then it goes, you're doing something, we're shutting you down for 3 minutes. I was like, what do you mean? I got the premium plan. And ChatGPT's, you do, sir, but you still need to stop.
Did you know that they say every conversation you have with chat uses 500 milliliters of water?
I was just going to say, I hope my daughter's not listening, and because I drained an entire freaking lake.
So I want to thank you for using chat so much, because I like wearing t-shirts in December. I like this global warming thing. I want you to keep it going.
Okay, this is really serious, and it's really hard to make light of this. The reason I can make light in this is because I have faith that AI is going to figure out our water distribution problem.
Oh, they will.
Yeah.
We'll put servers in the bottom of the ocean somewhere or something.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing we were talking about. They're building out data centers that we don't have the energy supply to power.
No, this is all on faith. This is what's crazy is this is all a mobilization of the largest workforce you've ever thought of.
Yeah. Well, the thing that
or infrastructure force.
What I think is a fun thing about life is realizing where you really sit in the world,
in the timeline of life, or where you are just in the world
as an individual. Like, okay, where am I actually on the social hierarchy? And then I see that like Intel is putting $500 billion into data centers that they know that they don't have the power to run. And but so, like right now at least,
doesn't it make
somehow
you think?
In their brain, somebody did the math. And I can't even begin to think of how I would start to, and it's like, oh, I'm lower than that guy. Like I'm way below whoever the guy is.
So is it
they hired?
Is it math or is it puppet masters?
$500 billion though of investment from one of the world's largest companies.
They probably just earmarked $500 billion and said we'll release it as the energy is available.
No, it's under construction. These are data centers under construction, not like, oh, in the next 5 years we're going to start. These are under construction.
So why aren't they investing in like nuclear?
I'm sure they are. So that's the thing that I think they're banking on.
But there's a difference between under construction and operating.
No, totally. But there's also a difference between under construction and in permitting. And so like if the question was like, okay, we're making plans to build all these data centers.
So think of it as a storing of capital standpoint, right? So if you see this is where the world's going and you have a whole bunch of capital, just building out the centers so you can turn them on
is the best thing to do.
So it's a race to have the space.
Yeah.
So it's like building the light bulb before there was electricity.
That's crazy though. That's crazy work though. Nobody would do. That's the thing that doesn't make sense to me though, is that everything that's ever happened, when somebody says like, oh, I stand on the shoulders of giants, it's like the reason they know that is because they invented a thing, right? But they recognize that if all of these other people hadn't done all of the work required to get them to their starting point, then they wouldn't have been able to invent whatever they invented. And so it's like, yeah, that's why, like not Einstein, the other Newton. Like Newton, when he was thinking through like time travel, basically, the only reason that happened was because he was thinking about trains driving from town or running from town to town. I don't know if you guys know.
That's relativity, and that's the same thing, right? So that is time travel for him.
That was
for his generation.
Well, but that's how he thought through it. But the moral of the story is that I have never. I don't think there's a precedence for being like, we know the electricity will come, like. We know,
but it's not
so I get what you're saying though. Like I'm not disagreeing
with the plumbing,
with that piece.
Right?
Yeah,
it's the plumbing effect of now all of this capital is there. We have the way to spend it. it's organized.
Yeah.
And it's being
And we know
released.
we'll need it at some point.
Yes.
So it's like, let's start now. And then
Yeah.
everything's moving so fast.
It's a byproduct of excess capital. If we
5
didn't have
years from now.
COVID, would all this be under construction?
I have no idea.
Okay, can we shift gears? I got more
Yeah.
news. It may be good news. It may not be. I have a question for Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, so Trump,
Yeah. Nothing burger.
200 billion. He says he's gonna
That-
buy $200 billion worth of Treasury bonds.
Yeah.
So instead of waiting for the Fed to do it, which he can't direct them to do it, so this is like quantitative easing. But instead of having the Fed do it, he's doing it through Fannie and Freddie because they're sitting on excess liquidity. How much does that push? I saw Jay Scott's comment on this that, like, yes, it will push rates down if the market reads that this is going to be an ongoing trend. If it's just a one-off, it'll just be a blip. We might get a little adjustment and it's over with.
Yeah, so if it's a one-off, it's a balance sheet thing, right? It's just left hand, right hand. It doesn't actually change anything. If it's a long-term thing, it's a commitment to a change. So if you're an investor, okay, you're moving left hand, right hand money, that's not going to make me profitable. But if you're a long-term commitment to a change, I can get in front of that and make capital. And so now you start investing in treasury bonds, yields go down. You start investing in mortgage bonds, spreads go down, and now rates go down because capital's getting ahead of a decision. And then after that decision, the flows of capital make the bets that they made profitable.
Okay. So what do you think? What's your prediction? Is this going to be just a...
You don't know until the details come out.
Is it just political theater to try the midterms, or is this
I think
something
everything Trump does is political theater.
Okay.
I think it is. Well, I think what the current administration does is a spaghetti on the wall tactic and a shock and awe tactic at the same time, right? So you have the shock and awe effect of just all these things going on, but at the same time, you have the spaghetti in the wall effect of, well, some things are going to stick, some things are not. And so, one, it's part of just the political psyop operation of dividing America of affordability that they actually don't really care about, in my opinion. And it's not a structural fix to affordability. So it's a political thing, but it may stick and it may not, right? I think this thing is different than, because that's just a commitment. It's a one-time thing. They can do it. So that's political. The other thing, which is institutional, banning institutional buyers from buying single family.
Yeah.
So that one's more of a spaghetti on the wall type bullshit. Whereas, yeah, this can be a policy thing. You can make this happen and maybe it just speeds up the market a little bit for a period of time. That doesn't matter. The institutional buyers, now that's the example of shock and awe, spaghetti on the wall, and that it doesn't. Well, how do you define an institutional buyer?
Number of dollars in assets, I guess.
Okay, do they not just buy fucking a million different LLCs? Like it's like, okay, no institutional buyers. Okay, well, what's the threshold? Let's just go start companies and cap them out at the threshold.
It's probably going to start with publicly traded companies.
Yeah.
And then from there, from the private companies, you can segregate your holdings and say that I don't hold.
And so when I say nothing burger, it's because we don't know what that is, right? So once you know the actual details of it, then you can do an analysis of, okay, well, this was how psychology will play out based on this policy, and then that psychology that controls the money will flow the money based on their thoughts on this policy.
So if it really sticks, what's the outcome? What having institutional buyers get out of the single family game, does that just releases? I mean, to me,
so I think that's mostly BS because a lot of so there's communities where you just need you need developers to build out housing that can be rented, and then you need the institutional buyers to give those developers confidence that someone will buy it, so there's capital to then hold it to be rented. Mm-hmm. So you can't ban that shit, right? That's stupid.
But that didn't used to happen, right?
Yeah, but just let me finish the thought. Whereas, okay, so institutional buyers, you ban it. Well, that doesn't change anything in Portland because institutional buying activity is not affecting Portland. So when you just say an institutional ban, what you're saying is the markets that are getting affected by institutional activity will be helped. And so I guess maybe from that aspect it can work, but
yeah.
So is this going to cause they're trying to drive prices down?
They're trying to leave homes available for home ownership. Mm-hmm. That's what they're trying to do.
So maybe there'll be like a block out where they say a house has to be on the market. There's other programs out there like this where house has to be on the market for a month or two and let actual people who want to live there have a shot at buying it.
Yeah.
And then it'll free up to where, hey, if nobody bought it after a couple months, then it's fair game for
But
them.
institutions are only going to buy portfolios.
That's what I'm saying. BlackRock's not running in to compete with you on your new river house.
And that's where the threshold comes from. You just be strategic on the size that you...
Well, but couldn't you just get rid of portfolio purchases? I mean, because I don't know how, because then
that would fuck up guys like us.
It's an institution, I'm not, but I don't even think BlackRock's targeting anything under 100 houses. So it's like, that doesn't really do anything to me. Or your local builder.
I think no one truly knows. Well, I think it plays out differently in every local market.
Totally.
And so no one can just say this is how it happens.
Yeah.
I think you need to look at every market to see, well, this is how it affects that market.
Yeah. I don't think that you can, I talked about this a year ago, how I didn't like that institutions were buying houses. I don't think that it's anywhere near the level that people think it is.
Isn't it 3 to 5%?
It's less than 3.
It's in the single digits.
Yeah, it's 1 to 3%. I don't even think it's that high. And so it's I don't think that obviously it affects everything a little bit, but not much. The thing that I don't like is the trend, because you have institutional buyers who now are starting to build out programs in the facilities, and then you have developers who are now starting to realize, okay, I can just make a partnership with the institutional buyer and start building out subdivisions. So it's not that they're buying 1% or 3% even, because I think it was 2.6 or something % of all transactions were to an institutional buyer in 2023. I don't know what it is now, but that was all portfolio sale stuff. And so that doesn't concern me as much as the fact that it used to be 0. Mm-hmm. At one point it was 0. And so in 2%, 2.6 or
what
whatever
you're pointing to is the change of the plumbing. Because up until 2008, institutions weren't needed. You had banks. And then after the Great Recession, construction lending at the bank level changed. And so developers, to be at scale, need institutions on the back end.
To purchase, you mean?
Both from a purchase standpoint, but in order to get rate, because now you're raising a fund. You're not getting bank financing for the construction because they're going to cap what they build you. So you then have to have institutional on the back to raise a fund to bridge the gap to actually do the work. And so the lack of bank plumbing of capital, or the difference of the bank construction capital as far as building out subdivisions go, required institutional funding to gap it on the back end. Or it required funding, private capital, to gap it, which requires institutional capital on the back end.
To buy it, you mean?
No, to build it out.
Okay.
To have faith in building this entire community, right?
Okay.
In the past, a bank would go, yeah, we'll help you build out 100% of that community.
Yeah.
Now a bank's going to say, we'll help you build out the first 20%.
So when you talk about the D.R. Hortons and Lennars of the world, what were they doing in 2008 and prior to 2008? Did they even exist prior to that?
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm pointing to. So if they had a subdivision, the bank would be, you're going to build out 100 homes, here's a loan for 100 homes, and you're set, right? And so you don't need anything else. You have your entire capital stack, you're there. But after 2008, the bank said, you're going to build out 100 homes, here's a package for 20. Perform, you'll get the next 20, right? And so the plumbing is different. And so now their strategy is different, and how they come to the table is different. Their speed is different. Their production volume is different. Well, one way to cure that is if you have institutional capital on the back end, now you can go raise private funds in the middle to bridge the gap
for the debt,
to speed up the production.
Okay.
So it's the institutional capital that actually speeds up the production in this arena. So when I say you can't kill that, that's essentially the lifeblood.
You need the institutional capital that's going to purchase it, though. Still.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because that middle capital, the fund capital, is based on that back end.
Yeah.
And if you think of a developer standpoint, if you're going to raise capital, so you can get 20 of the homes from a bank, but you want to get 100 homes, because if you can get 100 homes, the institution will buy it. So you have 2 pitches to go give your lenders. I can get funding for 20. We're going to raise the other 80, and we're going to build them and sell them. Versus the pitch whereof we're going to get 20 from the bank, you guys are going to give us 80, and we're going to sell it to institutional, and we already have a contract to sell it to them. Right? So if you're going to sell them to individual homeowners, it's a shit ton of risk and you can't raise the capital, so you're not going to produce it.
Yeah.
But if you have a contract on the back end with institutional,
buying the bulk of it. Yeah.
that contract on the back end prints all the money you need to get it done.
Pre-sold.
Yeah.
Really. Okay.
Yeah. So it's the plumbing of capital.
So going back to the political theater is, I mean, to me, is this a message to try to just get voters on board, or is this like, is the general thought?
Oh, dude, right now is a psychology battle for the midterm elections. That is everything playing out right now is a psychological battle in the media for midterm elections.
I can buy into that.
For Trump's third term.
But I also think that there is a big push.
I think no. I think what happens in 2026 will define if there's a third term or not, right? If there's control and there's confidence that another Republican can roll in, then actually no, because Trump doesn't care. He's not even the Republican Party. Just edit that out. Just cut that last part out. That's how Mike thinks out his mouth.
So the general feeling is that we're coming out of a downturn.
Yeah. And you feel it before you see it.
And I'm feeling it. I mean, we're seeing more deals trade. We're seeing, especially after this beginning of the year, you always kind of feel that after the holidays is, you know, a lot of our brokers are calling me and going, Gabe, I'm busier than I've been in a long time. You know, I mean, people are working, you know, I'm getting calls at 8:00 at night and we're putting contracts together and it's fun. I can tell you it's fun. It's like, oh, I remember these days, like back when we used to work, you know, 15 hours a day. Here we go again. Busy. Yeah. There's just more activity.
How much of that is just because it's January?
I think some of it is, and I think also that, like you're talking about the psychology of it, I think people are just ready to transact again. I think people have come to grips with where we're at in the cycle.
Yeah.
They understand that pricing has come down. I think I read something yesterday that, you know, multifamily as a general value, I think is 19% lower than it was. You know, rents are like 9 or 10% lower than what they were. So, like, the froth has come off. We've experienced the high of COVID. We've experienced the hangover that happened afterwards, and now we're sort of like pulling ourselves back together again and trying to piece together an actual market that we can transact in. And banks are starting to kind of come back around, and interest rates are going down a little bit, and you're seeing LTVs kind of start to creep up. And I don't know, it just the general feeling, and this I've felt this a few times over the last few years where it felt like we might come back, and then so I'm scared to say it because I don't know if it's going to disappear next month, because that's what happened before.
I think like the monetary environment's different. That is very clear. Like the rates are different. The lending is different. And I think what's happening now is the reality of that is kicking into the marketplace of the psychology and the conversations and the activity.
So at some point,
and faith that it'll still get better.
So don't house prices have to come down at some point? I know we disagree on this, but I just in my gut, it just feels like right now, like you're not getting the $50,000 over asking offers. You're not getting all the craziness. Like things are sitting on the market longer. You're seeing stuff go under contract at asking or below. People are resetting their price expectations. Like I'm getting, you know, as a principal broker, I see a lot of change orders come through that I sign, and I'm seeing a lot of prices come down. Just feels like, you know, I don't know if you can call it prices coming down or just like the craziness. Yeah, the craziness is gone for sure. Are we in a balanced market? Or do we need prices to come down a little further before we're in a balanced market?
Think of it this way: if values stay flat to hardly going up, that is values coming down. Okay,
because it's not going up at 30% like it did during COVID.
Correct, and incomes are going up. Right. So the last report, incomes are at 4.4%. Right. Like we had a good GDP report. Right. So incomes are up. Now, inflation adjusted, not so much. But if that, like real estate goes up 1 or 2% and inflation's 3 and incomes are 4, those prices are going down. In reality, the real prices are going down.
So nobody's really talking about this anymore, but have we experienced a soft landing? Have we landed?
Yeah. Well, Jake mentioned it in something recently. But I want to keep on that point. So my friend John Bricks, we're going to get him on. He has a great YouTube channel. He's in Florida. People should check him out. He wrote this. Option 1, keep propping up asset prices to protect existing owners and create a generation of renters. Option 2, let home prices drop so younger buyers can actually have a shot at home ownership. And so what we're slowly seeing happen is inventory grow, prices stay stagnant to slightly increasing, which creates actual price dropping slowly over a period of time, combined with more options, less bidding wars. Or we can throw $200 billion at the mortgage-backed security market, or we can create 50-year mortgages and act like what's happening right now is not good for our future generations. Because what's happening right now, what is really hard for us, is really good for our kids. And that's what's at stake if we just prop it up with bullshit.
Yeah, now going back to the data again, you go back 25 years and the average age of a first-time home buyer was like 28 years old. Today it's 40. So it's some of that is generational. Like to Dane's point, we were in a board meeting yesterday and he was talking about how, you know, people move out of mom and dad's later in life. People get married later in life. People are having kids later in life. So people are actually sort of like going from youth to adulthood at a later stage. And so part of that is I think the reason. But to your point, what's your guy's name again in Florida?
John Brooks.
John Brooks.
Yeah.
So I like what he's talking about there. You know, do we open the door for young people to come in and buy homes again? My question is, do they even want to?
So I would,
if they had faith that that was a good thing, they would.
That's what I think that part of it's which one is the cause and which one is the effect?
Chicken or the egg.
Well,
Yeah,
Trevor,
but I think to that point, like if you could just, well, one, there used to not be home loans, but it was way cheaper to build a home. And like a long, long time ago, we were talking about that last week. Like my grandpa lived in 4 houses after his parents' house, and he built all of them like himself, and then, you know, his brothers and whatever, or my great grandpa. And so that's obviously changed drastically over the last 100 years. But it's like, okay, are people maturing later because they're like forced to almost? Like you don't leave home. Like, okay, now you go to college. So there's an extra 4 years before you really have to like brave the world. And then there's also this huge like movement towards everybody went from jobs that used to be extremely internally satisfying. You had purpose basically, and like you were doing work with your hands, Frank. Like I as much as I enjoy the job that we do, there is to some extent it's like, man, like I love doing something with my hands, and like I love doing something outside. Like I mean that's why you walk your dog every day, because it's like I need to just be outside and be a human for like before I go sit down at my laptop. And so there's the movement too that says like, okay, in your 20s, figure out the thing that you can actually enjoy. And like I got lucky that my computer job is something that actually gives me a sense of internal like drive and excitement. Whereas a lot of people don't have that. And so they do this period, they have this period where they don't have their real career job yet, or they're not trying to like establish themselves in their 20s. But part of that is because jobs are innately less satisfying. And so, and that's real. And so then it's like, okay, by the time now you're 28, now you're getting a real job. Now you're deciding, okay, let's get married. Like maybe let's consider having kids. But the reason you're not buying a house yet is because you don't need to. So it's like, why would I waste money on a house when I don't have 2 kids yet?
Well, and you're 26, Trevor's 29. The other day, he looks at me and he goes, I love renting. Like,
oh, renting's great.
Why wouldn't I want to rent? Like, he wants to travel around and be all over the place. Like you guys, because of this technological advance that we have where you guys can work from anywhere, you're like, well, yeah, I could have a house, but then I got to worry about what's happening to it when I'm in Japan and I'm in Canada and I'm doing all these things. Like, so I think that the next generations coming up are not as geared towards I have to have the home is not so much of an identity. Like in my generation and older than me, it's like if
it wasn't the American dream.
It's like you own the home and you're like, I stay at home. Like I go to work and then I go home, and home is like that's my headquarters. That's my safe spot. That's where I go, and I have to have this as just sort of a foundation to everything else that I do.
You came from the generations where that was the dream.
Yeah.
And that's no longer it's not part of the dream.
I think it is for some.
Yeah.
But maybe that's later in life, or maybe not as many people want it anymore.
I think technology's brought back a level of nomadic psychology. And that's one reason housing sizes are shrinking.
You don't need as much. And family sizes are shrinking too.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to have kids later in life,
Well,
you're probably not going to have 6 kids.
And if you're
have
more
one or two.
nomadic and you're not settling down, you're not right. Like that's part of a nomadic mindset.
Well, travel got so much cheaper, and it got so much easier to like book trips.
World got smaller.
Like the world got smaller.
Yeah,
so
you
it's
had
like,
to
okay.
be you had to be one of like the richest people on the planet to do what you guys are doing.
You know,
now.
one
Yeah.
thing
Seriously.
one thing I've been thinking about is like first we had to conquer the planet, right? So I've talked about this, like the physical threats are different now. So now it's an emotional cognate world instead of a physical world, right? But once we conquer the planet from a population standpoint and all the boundaries are drawn, now we have to conquer each other, right? And once we start conquering each other, we start changing our mindset, and now that's where that kind of nomadic thing comes. And then the technology that allows that, which is so now the generations just live in a completely different reality than so far disconnected from our grandparents. That gap from our kids versus our grandparents is wider than any other 3-generation gap ever.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
The like thinking about Airbnb too, though, and how cheap it is to
Technology,
travel.
dude.
That's the technology piece, but that's the applied part is where it's like, used to, if I was going to plan a trip somewhere, you're planning it far in advance and it's very hard to do. Now you have the internet. Like I went on a trip last year where I didn't book the place that I was going to stay until the day before. Like I just went to a different Airbnb every night and I booked it the day before I went and stayed at that Airbnb, and it's not that expensive. Like it was relatively cheap. And I mean, yes, we're doing fine, but like anybody could have done it. Like somebody with an engineering job, if they could work virtually, could have done the exact same trip, and it wouldn't have been stressful for like their, bank account, whatever.
Just being a little bit tactical in how you design your house and how disciplined you are with your schedule. Rent your place, go rent another.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
that value is there because of the technology that's behind it.
So through just, I think the economic restriction on the American dream of owning a home, I think less people want to own, and also just through lifestyle behaviors, you've got generations that are not thinking as much in home ownership mindset.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If you grew up with the mindset that like, man, I can go work wherever I want, I can go see any of these countries, versus I grew up with the mindset of like, you be here because you get paid here.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm here, is because I get paid here.
and you want to live somewhere that you can do all the stuff that you want to do.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
that's why you live.
So that way, cool places cost more.
Yeah.
So are we turning into a renter nation?
It maybe just from that aspect of psychology.
Well, I mean, we're definitely moving that direction, and that's a combo of a bunch of things.
I think here's a good.
I guess the end in my the conclusion in my mind is that yes, home prices are more like higher relative to incomes, and it's less affordable to buy a home. However, that's not the only thing. It's like a lot of people, they don't like. It's nice to rent. It's nice to have somebody else that's taking care of everything in your, like the apartment complex. It's like, okay, I have to clean it. Like I got to clean it, but everything else is taken care of. So when I leave, it's like I'm not worried about a pipe busting or like mowing the lawn or coming back. And
but what about your future? Our grandparents would tell, like to our grandparents, owning the home was their retirement. You buy the home, you pay the home off, and that's your equity.
Yeah.
You listen to Cardone or Kiyosaki or anybody today, they say that your home is not an asset because it's not cash flowing.
Okay, well, here's a question. Are we becoming a renter nation because of affordability and finances, or are we becoming a renovation because of psychology and technology?
Both.
And it's
that's
both.
what I was saying.
But then the other aspect of it is the psychology, and the reality is our grandparents could buy a home and have equity when they died. Mm-hmm. The psychology is that's not real. The current psychology of the people younger than us don't believe that is real.
that they'll have equity when they die.
If they buy a home, that builds equity for them.
And it may, but it's not going to be enough to retire on.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the relative equity.
So it is one piece of your retirement, whereas before it was your whole retirement.
Right. It
But
could be
also-
your whole retirement. Now it can't.
There were a lot of people that used to, like, your retirement wasn't a big thing. The big thing you wanted to do with your house was pay it off.
Yeah.
They were trying to get rid of the expense side of it, not and like, okay, a lot of people, you went from building a home in cash, so you never had a payment on it, to, okay, now we get a loan. We just got to pay off that loan for the home so that when I do want to like slow down on my work.
Yeah, I
but
don't
a lot
have
of
the
people-
expense.
But a lot of people were never like fully retired. I mean, you weren't trying to get to the point where they just worked forever. But it was, maybe they slowed down how much they were working. But
they also got a really good income stream when they stopped working. They just worked till they had an age limit and they got a free income stream.
Sure.
Like, it's just a different psychology, right? So if you can pay off your home and you get this much income, you're set.
Yeah.
But if you were like, man, when can I pay off my home? I don't even think I can pay off my home. Mm-hmm. And the reality of, so it's relativity. It's a relativity. Yeah. It's the disconnect conversation. And it's that gap of generations. Our 3-generation gap, greatest of all time, of all generations probably that we can be of. That relativity is huge.
Wow. Lots to think about.
Wow.
I'm excited though.
Wow.
I'm still excited.
It's going.
It's a great time.
It's going the right way.
I think it's a great time to buy real estate, own real estate. If you're an investor, this is great. Buying a house, I don't know. I can't answer that question. I think it's great to own a home, say it's my home, and the payment stays the same.
So are we going into a recession, or is the housing market going to boom?
Well, I think we're coming out of a recession. But I personally just feel like home prices are going to come down. I don't think they're going to drop 50% like some people are saying, but I think we'll see some correction in home prices. Unless they can somehow get rates way, way down, and then that won't happen. But I don't think that's going to happen either. Mm-hmm. I think rates will come down, but I don't think they're going to come down dramatically. I think the best rate we'll see over the next year or two will probably be in the mid to high 5s, something like that, which will be reasonable. Mm-hmm. You can buy something at that. It's just the houses that, I bought a home 10 years ago, and my mentor in real estate told me I was stupid because I paid like $280,000 for a house, and he goes, I would never pay more than $150,000 for a house. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet, big backyard. I mean, the whole thing.
That's crazy.
That house today is $450, mm-hmm. 500 in some places. So, I mean, I don't know. It's something's got to give at some point. Yeah. People are going to want to move. So. All right.
People don't want to stay in the same place forever.
Well, we miss you, Trevor. Should we wrap this one up?
Yeah. Do we really miss him?
I don't know. He'd be falling asleep right now.
Love you, buddy.
But we're going to talk about deals next.
Oh.
Then he'll get FOMO. All right, Deal Junkies. Hey, we love you guys. We hope you're enjoying this podcast. Please share us with somebody, and we'll see you next time.